Waukegan, Illinois, a night of celebration turned into an unimaginable tragedy. What should have been a joyous gender reveal party ended with a beloved restaurant owner, Joshua Kirkwood, lying lifeless on the floor, his dreams and legacy shattered. The events of that fateful night uncovered deep-seated tensions, a family's fractured dynamic, and a heartbreaking act of violence. This is the story of Joshua Kirkwood, a story that began with hope and community and ended with devastating betrayal. Joshua Kirkwood was a self-made man. At 51 years old, he had transformed his passion for food into a flourishing restaurant, 4114 Steaks and Seafood. Known for his generosity, Joshua frequently hosted fundraisers and community dinners. During the pandemic, he provided meals for struggling families, becoming a pillar of hope in Waukegan. He always put others before himself, a neighbor shared. Joshua's personal life was equally vibrant. He had recently begun dating Maria Gonzalez, who managed his restaurant. The two had plans for a future together, but Maria's two sons, Isaiah, 21, and her younger 16-year-old son, seemed to have a strained relationship with Joshua. Though he tried to connect with them, sources close to the family described tension brewing beneath the surface. On February 11, 2025, Maria planned a gender reveal party for her close family and friends. The restaurant, normally a hub of fine dining, was transformed into a festive venue. Blue and pink balloons hung from the ceiling, and a centerpiece cake awaited the moment of truth. Guests mingled, children played, and the atmosphere was one of celebration. But even amid the joy, there were cracks. Observers noticed Isaiah sitting alone, his body language tense, his gaze fixed on Joshua. The younger son lingered near the kitchen, glancing occasionally at his mother's boyfriend. Despite the cheerful setting, there was an undercurrent of unease, as if something was simmering just below the surface. As the evening progressed, Maria gathered everyone around the cake. Cameras flashed, and guests cheered as she sliced into it. The blue filling revealed the joyous news. It was a boy. Applause and shouts of excitement filled the room. Joshua clapped enthusiastically, wrapping an arm around Maria. However, Isaiah's reaction stood out. Instead of celebrating, he remained seated, his jaw clenched. Witnesses later recalled seeing him muttering under his breath, visibly irritated. The joyous atmosphere was briefly interrupted by a tense exchange between Joshua and Maria. They stepped aside, their voices low but clearly agitated. As guests returned to mingling, the tension between Joshua and Isaiah became more apparent. Isaiah approached his mother, speaking animatedly while gesturing toward Joshua. The younger brother stood nearby, watching the exchange intently. Joshua tried to interject, but Isaiah's tone grew louder, drawing the attention of the room. Witnesses described the moment as surreal. Joshua maintained his calm demeanor, attempting to reason with Isaiah, but Isaiah accused him of disrespecting their mother, his voice sharp and filled with anger. Maria, caught in the middle, pleaded for calm, but the situation continued to escalate. What happened next unfolded in mere seconds, but would change everything forever. The younger brother suddenly disappeared into the kitchen. Moments later, he returned, clutching a large knife. Gasps filled the room as he rushed toward Joshua without warning. Before anyone could intervene, the younger son stabbed Joshua multiple times. Screams erupted as blood stained the floor. Maria collapsed in tears, shouting for her sons to stop, but the chaos was overwhelming. Isaiah, initially frozen, seemed to snap out of it and fled with his brother, leaving Joshua crumpled on the floor. When police arrived, the restaurant was a scene of devastation. Joshua was pronounced dead on the spot. Maria was inconsolable, her screams echoing through the room as she clutched the blood-stained floor where Joshua had fallen. Investigators began piecing together what had happened, speaking to shaken witnesses and collecting evidence. The Gonzalez brothers had fled, and a manhunt was immediately launched. News of the attack spread quickly, leaving the community in shock. People gathered outside Joshua's restaurant, leaving flowers, candles, and messages of love. He was the heart of this town, a tearful mourner said. Police focused their efforts on locating Isaiah and his younger brother. Surveillance footage from nearby cameras showed the two fleeing in a car shortly after the attack. Interviews with party guests painted a picture of long-standing animosity between Joshua and the Gonzalez brothers. Investigators discovered that Isaiah had a history of confrontational behavior. Friends of Maria's younger son described him as quiet, but easily influenced by his older brother. The crime was shocking, but for those who knew the family, it seemed the culmination of unresolved tensions. The case sparked a media firestorm. Reporters delved into Joshua's life and the history of his relationship with Maria. Speculation ran rampant. Was this a spur-of-the-moment attack, or had tensions been building to this tragic outcome? Social media lit up with theories, some blaming Maria for failing to mediate between Joshua and her sons. Others speculated about possible financial or familial motives. Amid the noise, one truth remained clear. A man who had given so much to his community was gone, leaving a void that could never be filled. Joshua Kirkwood's death left Waukegan reeling. His restaurant remained closed, a silent reminder of the tragedy. A memorial was held, drawing hundreds who shared stories of Joshua's generosity and warmth. Though the Gonzalez brothers were eventually apprehended, questions lingered about what drove them to commit such a heinous act. As the town mourned, Joshua's friends and family called for justice and healing. His legacy as a community leader and compassionate soul endures, but his absence is deeply felt. This story is a chilling reminder of how quickly celebrations can turn to sorrow and how unresolved conflicts can have devastating consequences.